Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm George Riddell, Chairman of the National ADDY Committee. Most likely you're here today because your AAF club will be judging the ADDY Awards this weekend. We wanted to provide a review of the ADDY download tool for those who want it. Today's call will be recorded like our other webinars have been for later review by you or others who want to get access to it. Before we start, I just have to say that all of us on the National ADDY Committee are fully aware of the difficult issues you've been facing regarding the software, the ADDY software so far. We're way beyond the point where sorry is sufficient to express our sentiments. But in order to move forward, we want to provide everyone with the latest information that we have about how to use the downloader utility to retrieve all the files that your ADDY entrants have uploaded to their entries. Those of you who have attended or viewed our previous webinars are going to recognize a lot of what Jeffrey's going to talk about here today, but review is always good. And if this is new information to you, we're glad we're doing this because it'll help you in the process over the next few days to get ready for your judging. It's important, I think, for all of you to begin the downloading process as soon as possible. It's going to be really important for you to get this downloading completed as soon as you can. As with all of our previous webinars, we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. If you have questions, please type them into the questions window on your screen, and we'll address them sort of on a first-come, first-served basis when we finish the presentation. Today's session will be led by Jeffrey DeLong, Vice Chair of the National ADDY Committee. Also on the call today is Ethan Harlow. He's the Director of Technology Services at Omni Solutions. So here to get us started is Jeffrey. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Good day, all. I hope everything is going well and you guys are getting prepared for your big day. Right now, we're going to jump right in and get to where the downloader is and walk straight through that. This was covered on the second webinar, but we're going to do it for review. Like George said, review is always good. So, of course, we're going to go straight to the admin if we haven't downloaded this already. And we're going to log in as an admin. And at this point, we don't necessarily need to do anything except go to Exports and then click on the file downloader. Oh, I actually have to select my competition, which should be selected. There it is. All right. Here you'll see the basic instructions. Now, one of the biggest caveats here that people are getting stumped with are having a certain type of Java listed on in your machine. The quickest way to check is just go to java.com, and then there's a little link right here saying, do I have it? We're going to click on that, and then we'll click on Verify Java. What this is going to do, it's going to check my machine to make sure I actually have it installed. And if I don't have it installed, it'll provide me a link to download. It's a very simple application, and it's really simple to install. You just need to follow the instructions. Now, this little window right here is just asking the question, do we want to run it? It's a security thing, so just say run. And then right now I am up to 7, update 11. They just released this update, so if you don't have it up to this one, I recommend going ahead to install it just to get you fully updated. Once we know that this is good, then we'll go over to here, and this works both on Mac and Windows, either one, and you'll want to make sure you're updated on both platforms depending on which one you're using. Follow the instructions here, especially for the Mac. The Mac has one little extra step that the Windows machine doesn't. You'll need to choose, of course, which platform you're on. If you are in the Windows world, you should be able to use this on XP 7 or 8. And if you have an older Mac, version 10.5 and below, or even some 10.6 machines, you'll want to run the 32-bit version. If you are running 10.7 or above, you'll want to run the 64-bit. I'm running 10.7, and I've downloaded the 64-bit, and you'll get it in a little zip file. And once you uncompress that zip file, you'll have a folder. And inside this folder, you'll see a bunch of little files here. And the one that you want to work with on the Mac side is the Run Downloader. Now, when I double-click on this, you'll see that window come up. Do not be alarmed. This is the terminal application. This is built into the Mac OS, and it needs to run a few little things to get your environment set up. So don't be alarmed by this window coming up, and all you'll have to do later is quit, but don't quit it now. So let's go ahead and move to the utility itself, and we're going to log in. And you use the exact same username and password as you use for your administration account for the software. And we're going to click Go. One of the screens will disappear. Don't be alarmed. The next screen will come up, providing that we log in. There it goes. As you can see, the screen disappeared, and you'll also notice that a whole bunch of stuff just happened in the little terminal window. Again, do not be alarmed by that. Just leave it in the background and let it sit there and do its thing. So once I've logged in, I know it's me. The MC is Test Club 1. I have my competition. Now, you'll probably see two in this list. You'll see the 2011 to 2012, and of course, we want to select the 2012-2013 competition. Once I select this, it's going to regenerate itself, and I'm going to be presented with the lists. Now, here's where we can cherry pick a whole bunch of things, or we can just take it all in bulk. If we leave this at Please Select, that means we're just going to grab everything. We're not filtering anything out. But we can grab golds only if we want to. We can grab our categories. In the list, you can just cherry pick each one of the categories if you want to get very specific. Sometimes people with a lot of files might consider doing just the radio and the television to grab first and then come back and grab all the other stuff. For those of you with decent internet connections, I recommend just grabbing the lot and calling it good. So I'm just going to leave everything blank here. I'm not going to select a judge round. I'm not going to select an award, a category, or an entrance type. I'm just going to leave it wide open. The other thing to note is this piece right down here, the file version to download. You have three options. You can grab everything. You can grab the web version only, or you can grab the original files only. My recommendation here again is leave it on original. These are the files that you want to use anyway, so there's no sense to download anything else. So we'll click Continue. And then this is where we get to kind of define how the folders come out. So I'm going to click Browse. And I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to click a new folder. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm just naming mine ADDY_downloads. Then we'll click Open. Now, the next thing we want to do is define the order on how we want our folder structure to come out. And I will show you this. We're going to start with the very top piece. So this is going to be our competition name. Right here is number 1. And then the next thing I want is my division. It's labeled here as entry category or grand parent, but this is division. So then what I mean by division means sales promotion, digital advertising, advertising for the arts, elements of advertising. Those are our divisions. Our subdivisions will be the next one, and that's like inside sales promotion. There's product or service sales presentation, catalogs, and whatnot. Then we want the actual category itself. So that would be our brochures, our menus, things like that. And then I want the entry ID, which is the actual number of the piece, which will correspond to the number that's on your score sheets. So easiest way to look at this is division, then subdivision, then the category, and then the entry ID. This is the structure that we want to come out with, the competition, of course, being at the top. So we're going to hit Continue. And what this is going to do now is it lists out everything that's going to be downloaded, and it kind of breaks it down between all the different file types. We have 4 PDFs coming, 1 PNG, some MP4s, a few movies, some JPEGs, and whatnot. And then these are all the lists of each of the entries that are coming down. Now, as you can see, this is my test competition, and I have assigned some awards, and those are also listed. So like before, you can go through and select just your silvers and golds, and this can definitely be used after the show, but this is what you want to do right now before your competition gets judged. And it will take a few minutes. As you can see right here, I've only got 392 megabytes, and it's claiming 1 minute and 18 seconds. I helped download a competition that had 15 gigabytes, and it did take a while, so I would prepare for a little bit of time. It also depends on the size of your internet connection. If you've got a nice big cable connection, it shouldn't take you very long. If you're sitting at a company with a smaller connection, or depending on where you're at, but try to have a nice connection, and then when you start your download, you'll get a little progress button bar down here, and it'll keep telling you what files are coming down, and it'll start spitting all those down. As you can see, it's going relatively quickly. I've got a relatively sizable connection here, and once it comes down, we'll go ahead and let this run, and while we're doing that, we're going to look at the Windows side. Now, one of the things I can do, if for some reason I need to move the computer or whatever, I need to take a break or whatever it is, and I can stop the download right here and leave it, and then I can start it again, and it should pick up where it left off. So you don't have to worry about if you have to, if you cherry pick some of your categories or anything like that, you wouldn't have to worry about doing that again, unless, of course, you clicked back and changed anything. But if you just hit stop here and left everything alone and then click start again later, it should work out without any problem. So we're just going to let that keep downloading for a second, and I'm going to move to my Windows piece. So as you can see, it's kind of the same deal. I downloaded the zip file. Now, this is very important. Some people on a Windows machine, if you double-click on this, it opens up a folder just like any other folder. And a lot of people will get confused and think, okay, everything's ready to go, and I can start working on the downloader. That is not the case. We need to do this little deal right here where it says extract all files. You need to make sure you click that to extract the actual files, because right now we're just looking at the zip archive. All we're doing is we're viewing all the files inside that zip file. Make sure you click extract to get all the files out of that zip file, and then you'll get the two files sitting here. This folder and this file actually gets created after the fact. I've already run this once, but these are the two pieces that you'll see. I'm going to double click here. And this is also, again, you'll want to make sure that Java is installed on the machine by going to java.com, clicking on that link, do I have Java? And the same protocol, type in your username and password that you use to access the software. And this does the same thing. It will make the window disappear, and it'll reappear. On slower machines, that pause is just a little bit longer, but it's not too bad. Again, select your competition, same type of deal. The windows are exactly the same. So the items should function identical on any platform. The only thing that's different right now is that little extra thing we have to do for the Mac, and that's click on Run Downloader instead of the OmniContest File Downloader. So let's see where our progress is at. I'm at 33%. I'm also conducting a webinar, so that's probably why my type is just a little bit slower, because you can see my screen and a lot of people are looking at it. But it should go down without any problem. I'm going to hide this for a second, and we can look at our folder structure while that's happening. And you can see while I'm downloading, I've got my test competition, which was that #1 we put on that screen. I'll go into that folder, and you can see I'm starting to already get my divisions being pulled down. So as these files are downloading, it's creating folders, and it's putting everything and organizing it into the divisions. So I can go into my consumer or trade publication division, and inside there, I've got the subdivision of full page, and inside there is my breakdown of 4-color, and inside there I have 2 happy little entries and my little PDFs. So I can look at those, and yay, I have a beautiful ad sitting right there. And that's my PDF. Now, the most important piece is, of course, on our video, and we should have some down by now. And look, we just got a new one down here as it's copying all these files. So I'm going to go into television. It's breaking down our categories, 45 local, Inside there, we've got the two subcategories, 15 or less or 30s. And inside there, I have a nice entry, and there's my actual file. And this is the original one that was uploaded. Now, you will see kind of a funky naming structure. This naming structure has been put in place to make sure and be darn sure that there are no overwrites, no duplicates, no crazy file rewrites or whatever, and it keeps it very unique. So what we're looking for right here is a third set of numbers, and that is our entry number. So if you look at the folder structure, we've got test competition, division, subdivision, category, entry number. And so 116620 is the same as this right here, and that is our entry number. So you'll know that the entry number itself that we talk about is more of a 10-digit. It's got the district number, then the club number, and then the entry number. Here we're looking at just the entry number. Now the great thing about having our actual files in the digital realm is that we can just open these up and play them for the judges. It's no longer having to stick in a DVD and wait for that thing to load up. We can now just hop on this file and we can open it up either in QuickTime, or I recommend the VLC player. That's V as in Victor, L as in Larry, C as in Cat. It's a free download, and it plays pretty much any format. But I can also hit the space bar, and wow, that's a really big app. Okay. As you can see, that has come in full 1080p. That is the other bonus of being able to upload all these things, because we're having the full resolution of all these great video files come in, and we can see them in their beauty and their splendor. So right now, we're going to go, and again, we can see all the different categories and subcategories, and there are my video files. Now, they're already organized that I can literally just sit here and open them up, play them, open them up, play them, open them up, and play them. And that's probably the easiest solution for your judging day, is just have this sitting on a computer connected to a big screen or connected to an LCD projector, however you've got it set up. And if you've got a nice TV monitor that you can plug into, that's great as well. And then you can literally have someone come in here and just drive and play the file. If you want to get even more streamlined, you can take each one of these files and put them in a timeline on some other application and create a streaming video. It's totally up to you. The easiest solution here is just to play them one by one, and it's still going to save you a ton of time. I've heard from the couple people who have already judged, this is like, it went too fast for them, because then they weren't ready to have their other stuff being judged. They were like, wait a minute, and they weren't prepared. So the two things we need to worry about right now is make sure you download all your files now to get prepared. There isn't too much organization after the fact, as you can see, because it's all broken down for you in nice little folders. The other thing that you will get is a file that shows you everything that was downloaded, and it should provide details as well. So this will give you a nice little manifest of all the video files, all the digital files, all the PDFs, JPEGs, everything that was in your system as being uploaded by your entrants will be sitting here, and it will be correlated to entry ID and show you all the information about it. So that's kind of a little double check to make sure that you got all the files down. So right now it says we're downloaded successfully, 100%. We can click on this. It'll take us to our folder. We already know where it is because we told it to put it on the desktop. And that is it. You can go back and change things. You can cherry pick out some categories if you want to. But right now, that is the key to the downloader. Let's check on our windows. We can close that. And is there any questions? Or are there any questions there?
Can you hear me, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a couple of questions that have come through here. Before I ask you these questions, I have a question. Going back to where you were setting up the folder order, could you go back to that window for a second?
You bet.
In the first webinar, we spent a little extra time on the folder order at the request of a viewer, and I wanted to go back to that set. So is this the same order that we trained in the first webinar?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Okay, so that has not changed. Okay, so people, I want to make note of how that setup goes so that when you get to that point, you know how to select it, because this does result in the folder hierarchy that Jeffrey showed you, which is really a great way for your folders to be organized. All right, so a couple of questions here. So David is on Mac OS 10.6.8, and he can't get the, quote, grandparent things to give him any drop-down options. And I think this is what he's talking about here. And so his download, he says his download is still working. However, I think the download completed, and now he has just folders with 6-digit numbers on them. So I'm wondering if there's
So here's how that changes. So when you first get there, it looks like this. You have the competition and the entry ID, and that's the default. Now, I won't be able to, well, on some of the ones that you can change it, you can't actually change until you blank it out. So you have to blank, you have to take this and move it to blank, and then you can select in order number 2, number 3, number 4.
Okay, so you have to blank out the entry ID one first. Is that what you said?
Right.
The one that has 2 in it?
Basically blank out the order and start the order clean. So as long as these are all blank, you can start with the entry grandparent at 2, because we've already got competition as 1. This is default. You can't change this. And then we have 3. And then I could make entry ID 4 if I wanted to, but I don't. I want to put that there, and 5. So that's the trick, is just make sure it's blank first. And then you can set the order.
Okay. You know, it's funny, we don't have a lot of other questions. All right, so hang on here, one just popped up. Sarah says she's having a general software issue. I believe this is unrelated to the downloader. She says, I need to log into the entrance site, and it is not working. I keep getting the screen that says I need to register this year after I enter the username and password. I guess my first question is, are you trying to use the same username and password that you use for your admin side? Because you have to have a different username and password for the entrance site than you do for the admin site, and you also have to be using a different browser, Sarah. Those are 2 things you have to do first of all. And she says she is using a different login and a different browser. Ethan, any thoughts on this?
My first question would be, is this her first time trying to access the entrance site? If so, the first step she needs to do is register.
Waiting for her response. She's used it several times.
I would send the support email a ticket, and we'll look at it here in the next half an hour or so. If she could provide which club she's trying to access and the username she's trying to use, we can look it up, and I'm sure we can figure out the.
Sarah, what
I'm sure
club
we
are you
can figure
with?
it out.
Anybody else have other questions? We have a couple more minutes here. If there are any other questions you'd like to submit to Jeffrey or Ethan, this would be a good time to do it. I don't see anything else coming up here, so I think we'll end the call now. And boy, thank you to Jeffrey for a real good, clear explanation of the downloader tool. Best of luck to all of you on your judging this weekend, and I will say this, that if if you're judging this weekend and you have issues, we have ensured that the Omni support team will be on call and available for you on the weekend, just as they are during the week. So if you're judging and you have an issue and you need support help, I encourage you to use the same client support at omnisg.com email, or you can use the support buttons on the site. And I would suggest that you start your email with in the subject line, say in capital letters, "Judging now," and that will flag your support request so that the people in support know that you are in the process of judging, and hopefully that will flag your request as an urgent judging issue. And do that, and then people will be able to identify it as something that's related to current judging activities. Please use your downloader tool right away, and if there are any issues, once again, please contact Omni Support. Thank you, everyone, for attending today, and good luck with your judging this weekend. Take care. Have a good day.